You gotta eat in this Pokemon world. I choose you, the greatest podcast of them all. I choose you.
Hello, and welcome to I Choose You, the podcast about cooking and eating Pokemon. My name is Jeremy Zielik, and I am the host and Alton Brown of the group. Joining me this week, as always, is...
your friend on this show, Ben Montoya.
You almost didn't say your name.
Ian Davis, the Mark Wines of the show.
I'm also going to crack a beverage.
Let's go!
Oh, we fucking go.
You know, I'd like to tell you all a tale, a story to open this week's episode.
All right, go ahead.
The year 2019.
Okay.
Imagine it.
Yes, 6 years. Oh, I know where the story's going.
I don't think you can actually imagine it.
No, I can.
2019.
Well, I've recorded evidence of it. I can. In fact, we have our own voices talking about it.
4 lads grabbed some microphones, hopped on a Skype call, slapped something together, hit publish.
Yeah.
Here we are.
6 years later. That's right.
6 years later, the I Choose You empire stretches far and wide.
From Australia to Sweden. The I Choose You empire spans the globe. The sun never sets on the I Choose You empire.
It's so true. It's so true. Not in a colonist way, but just in a we're everywhere kind of way.
Like a big brother
And
way.
Yeah.
you know, I just have to give it up. Cheers. Yeah. We didn't really do anything special for this anniversary, but it has been 6 whole years of I Choose You.
Is today specifically the anniversary, which is March 3rd?
I think the actual anniversary is March 5th, which is when the first episode came out.
Okay.
We'll
say the special thing we did for our anniversary was our community night earlier this weekend.
I mean, we can say anything, but it's to be honest, we didn't do anything.
Why are you...
That's the difference between what we reality and talking, right? We can say we did something for sure, but we didn't actually do anything. And I just wanted to carve out a little bit of time at the beginning of this episode to, pay proper respects because
press F.
I'm gonna counter that, Ben, and say that's the American way.
Yeah, you will it into existence. What's this? I'm gonna check what the 6-year anniversary is.
Oh yeah, it's probably rocks,
Geodude,
a nice cut of meat.
This is just saying to buy wood for your loved one.
Oh, it's wood.
No, it's not.
Oh.
I was gonna say something like a tree, but
why fucking Google? You guys do some. Okay, I got it. No, it's iron. It's iron.
Iron is year 6.
Yes, year 6. You become a mad industrialist who's like, this is our iron anniversary, and I have forged the links in a chain for our relationship.
Well, 2019 seems so long ago. Now, in today's scary nightmare world, steel and aluminum tariffs are going to go sky high. Iron's where it's at, baby.
Yes.
Everyone dump your stocks. Go to iron.
Yes.
We're all going to iron, baby.
We need to bring... Everyone's like... The
iron coin.
Everyone's like fucking the Bronze Age. I'm all about the Iron Age, baby. It's that one came after bronze, right? We have it a classics professor in our listenership. They can confirm this.
All the old people are so worried about China going to the gold standard and destroying the value. You think they're gonna zig? They zag. Iron standard.
Iron standard. Ooh. Oh shit.
Iron standard. Everything, because you can. We were worried about hyperinflation previously, but now, fucking baby, every rock's worth like $20 kind of situation.
Man, my cast iron pans.
Well, they're not going to be worth a lot. They're going to be worth so little. They'll be worth like $100 a piece, but like $100 shitty dollars.
Wait. Okay. So, are you saying Iron Coin is gonna make the actual usage of cast iron non-valuable.
Well, if you're gonna say, are the economy's now based on iron? Iron's not a rare material, so the value of iron itself will be inflated. It's like in I forget what Douglas Adams' book it is, but it's like the currency on this planet is leaves, and as soon as they decide that, they get hit with hyperinflation because there's too many leaves on the planet, kind of situation.
But see, Jeremy, that's the beauty of it, because you thought they were gonna zig, you thought they were gonna zag, they zigzagooned. It's not iron, like true iron. It's pictures of iron.
Pictures of iron.
Yeah, okay.
Iron
Web3.
FTs.
Yeah.
Iron FTs. 2025.
You heard it
The
here
year of
first.
Iron FTs.
If you listen, listeners, you want to get ahead of this? Hit me up on PayPal. I will send you some iron FTs so you can get your
I mean, you
get
got
on the
that. You
reserve.
got that cast iron skillet, baby. You can. That's all your irons in the fire.
Yeah, I'll send you some iron picks.
Yeah. You know, I don't want to be irony poisoned, but I do believe that this is the way of the future.
It also kind of reminds me of like in Game of Thrones where they talk about like paying the iron price versus like paying the gold price. Like iron being like the sword.
Yes.
You know, like you know,
You cut people. Yeah.
you killed someone to get that loot instead of I paid someone for this commodity. So like maybe that's our strategy in this new year is just like paying
we
the iron
do trial
price
by
for
combat.
well, for podcasts though.
Okay,
Podcast
okay.
combat,
Of course.
you know. Instead of paying our way, we're
Who are we
gonna
fighting?
fight our way.
Yeah.
It's a good question. We'll figure that out later. I think just the mentality is what's more important.
Okay. Well, I can get behind that.
Your mindset is like a castle.
Oh, that's true.
You know, I've heard this before.
Yes, yeah. And we got to grind it out to get the best castle that we can possibly get.
Right.
Kind of situation. It's been a few weeks since our last episode, 2 in fact. So some stuff's happened since then. The most important one is that we got some information about Pokemon Legends Z-A, or as some people like to call it, Pazza, or Plaza, if you will.
That's good. I like that actually.
Here's the kind of pitch of the game. It takes place in Luminos City from X and Y. It only takes place in the city, so it's kind of like GTA. So Pokemon GTA, think about that kind of situation. So you're going around the city, you're doing stuff. The 2 trainers, like the 2 fuck people that you meet at the beginning of the game who like lead you through it. One's named Urbane and the other is named Townie, so urban and town, which I think is funny. And it's spelled like Taunie, so it's like, French or whatever.
Non-derogatory.
Yes, French, a little
Is that
derogatory. But the main one of the main new things in this game is, so like in Pokemon Legends Arceus, when you engage in combat, you saw Pokemon walking around. You would throw out your Pokeball and you would start a round of combat with the Pokemon that you saw in front of you. In this one, they're introducing a new spin on that, which is you can now position your Pokemon in the environment, and that will affect the flow of combat. So during your turn, you can move your Pokemon and yourself around the place that you're battling. And if there's like a wall or something between you and the other Pokemon, it will cause the attack not to connect or something like that. Things of that nature. So now that you have to consider positioning, or Ian, perhaps you have the higher ground in a certain battle kind of situation.
So what you're telling me is this is like, it's like Ender's Game. Mm-hmm. In like the war room or whatever.
Yeah.
Where they are naked and flying around and like.
Yeah. Yeah. You're in space. You're 12. Your brother and sister take over the government by posting on the internet. It's what everyone wants out of a Pokemon game.
Yes. Would you say that it's kind of akin to Ni no Kuni?
No.
Where the action doesn't stop?
I haven't played it, so honestly, I can't say for sure. Kind of situation. Weeb. Yeah. Sorry, Ben.
Weeb.
I'm still not. They didn't show actual battle happening, I guess, is what I'm like kind of still not really sure how I feel about it, because I feel like that's gonna once I see what it actually plays like, I'll like have more concrete feelings about what I might be excited for. Right now I'm kind of like middle of the road.
Yeah.
Mild.
I mean,
Mid.
let's talk about this. Cyndaquil. Cancel.
Cyndaquil erasure.
Yeah.
can't-
So the starters for this are Chikorita, Totodile, and you're like, Gen 2. And then fucking Tepig? What is going on here?
I can't
Speechless.
condone it. I can't.
Because I just think it's so funny that they're like, yeah, 2 Gen 2 starters, and then probably not the most popular one.
Well, I think there's a couple things, because this is a Pokemon Legends game, right?
Yeah, so it's
And
it's
so-
technically a spin-off, yeah.
Yeah, and so the Arceus one, Cyndaquil was a starter.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they
Yes.
wouldn't go back to back with Cyndaquil. You know, that just doesn't it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yes.
Also, there was the controversy over, Typhlosion
let's talk
and
about
how
that
that
for a
played out in Arceus.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Uh-huh.
Because first off, that's like an ancient legend.
This is a modern city, but it is French.
You can't, but it's a folk story.
Uh-huh.
You can't like. Are we going to condemn all Typhlosions? Second,
For having human relations.
second,
I mean, the fact that it is sorry, you're going really fast. The fact that it is in the past and our mainline Pokemon games seem to happen in quote unquote the present implies that people did get over this folktale stigma around Typhlosion, Cyndaquil, and we don't even know how widespread it is.
Yeah.
Right? It's like so hidden in the lore, maybe even within their canon,
Yeah.
that like it's not necessary. It's like a myth or
Yeah.
something.
Well, all I'm saying is that, like, in this game, since it takes place in France, because of their more libertine attitudes, there's, Pokemon human relationships across the board, kind of situation. Like, you're smoking a cigarette, you got your wine, your Gardevoir's next to you, kind of thing at the cafe. Your Gardevoir and your wife are with you, kind of thing.
This is what Rousseau was writing about.
Yes.
In the Pokemon Enlightenment.
Yes.
everyone's fine if we're fucking the Pokemon.
But
But when the question arises of if the Pokemon can fuck us,
everyone gets up in arms. They're like, you can't do that.
yeah,
What if they impregnate me?
exactly, Jeremy. Chicken shit. That's what I have to say to
Chicken
Reggie
shit.
and the rest of them. You're too chicken shit to imagine what could happen if you were impregnated by the Typhlosion.
Anyway, I saw a very funny meme on the internet when it was announced, and it was an episode of The Simpsons, and it was Milhouse's dad, and he says, "I don't know how I feel about Milhouse having 2 Gen 2 starters for a game," kind of situation. And I agree. It is just weird that there's 2 of them. Because they could just pull from anything else at that
They've
point.
got so many generations to pull from.
9, in fact. It is a little odd, and I'll be interested to see how it plays out. So I'm
Yeah.
definitely a wait and see on this one. I did enjoy Pokemon Legends Arceus quite a bit. I would say it's my favorite Pokemon game that's on the Switch. So I'm definitely interested in this one. I hope it turns out well. Mm-hmm. Yes, Ian.
You had a second point.
Oh, I've made all my points.
Oh.
I'll let the listeners think about it.
Fill them in.
Yeah, chew on that. Mm-hmm. But while we're on the subject of Pokemon, before we move on to something else besides Pokemon,
Which I really hope we get to, because I there's something else that happened in between us last recording that I think is crucial for us to talk about. But I want to know what is also Pokemon related.
I'd like to give you a couple of school updates.
Garfield.
Well, no, not Garfield.
Okay.
Though I do harass that kid every day and now call them Garfield. I was wearing a Kirby. This is actually completely unrelated to Pokemon. For a second, I'm wearing a Kirby shirt. I'm getting compliments throughout the day, right? Oh, I love your
Left
shirt.
and right.
Nice. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm like it's like Spider-Man 2 or whatever.
Nice Kirby shirt.
Yeah. I get to the high school, and one of my kids is like, "Oh, is that Kirby?" And I was like, "Yep." And they're like, "You look just like him." Fucking destroyed.
Oh no.
Roasted.
Just crumpled me.
Do you think that's because you have a shaved head?
I think that might have something to do with it.
Okay.
I wasn't
They were
willing
just
to
like,
ask.
instead of doing the SpongeBob like bald,
Right.
bald, they're like frame of reference for like round pink bald boy.
Exactly.
Isn't even Charlie Brown either. It's Kirby.
It's Kirby. Kirby says good grief and then
Yeah.
takes him down.
I mean, Kirby's got not a care in the world. I mean, he seems to be delighted by everything, even when, he's fighting some sort of, intergalactic evil. He's just chilling, straight chilling.
Vibing.
Yeah.
This happened today. This is Pokemon related. Kid comes into my class and he's like, "Hey, mister, I got this assignment I need to finish. Do you mind if I work on it?" And I was like, "Well, we got shit to do. What is it?" And he's like, "Well, my science class, my teacher is making me design a Pokemon based on one of the elements, and I have to write this paper
Nice.
about it and draw it." And he was like, "Do you think I could get some time?" And I was like, "No, I'm gonna stop you right there. You take the whole
This is
fucking
way
class."
more important.
Yeah. Please take the 100-minute block of this class and work on that instead. And he was like, "No, I can definitely play." I was like, "No." End of discussion. Go do your fucking assignment.
Oh, that's so good.
Wow, he's going to be
very
insane
best?
in 5 years, yeah.
The very best.
Yes.
Yeah.
All I've got to say is that designing your own Fakemon, as they're called in the official community, is a doorway to greatness, in my opinion.
You're recognizing that from an early age. That person's going to go on to design the next 100 years of Pokemon.
Do you
can only
think
hope so.
he's like, I finally, it's like one of the shitty ones that everyone hates. It's like he made Trubbish again or whatever.
And he's like, my teacher, Ian Davis,
Yeah.
inspired me to make this Pokemon.
I'm sure. I
It's
don't know that
Trubbish too.
most of the kids I don't think actually know my name. They just call me Mister. Surely,
Mister.
50 years from now, they'll be like, "How did you get started?" He's like, "This Kirby ass motherfucker at
I have a question. What do you think when Detective Pikachu came out? Everyone's like, "Oh, it's kind of weird to look at the Pokemon when they have realistically rendered skin because they have either fur or skin texture now instead of just being a colored in animation kind of situation." Do you think Kirby has a basketball texture when you touch him? Or is it a kind of what's the pink bouncy stuff that you get in an egg?
Putty?
Do you know what I'm talking?
Oh, Silly Putty.
Yeah, silly putty.
I'll answer that. I'm just gonna give you this answer and then we can move on because it's correct. Mochi.
Mochi, yes. I would really love to live in the world where it's Mochi and not a fucking basketball. I can't handle basketball bumps and textures all along Kirby. That's just not right.
Kirby is not ribbed for our pleasure.
No.
He is
Do you think he's
smooth,
really
soft,
smooth?
Yeah.
Yes.
silken.
And maybe a little dusted too, how a mochi is
Listen, you look at Kirby, you know that their skincare routine is fucking flawless.
Yeah.
Oh my
Powders
God.
himself every day.
So
to
do they
stay
have
nice.
any
Oh
kind
my
of
God.
hair? Are they mammalian in any way, Kirby?
No. Oh, no, can't be. Are you
A
kidding?
bush?
Well,
It's the egg and I think you should
Yeah. Well, my thing is that the only part of Kirby
Kirby
we
have a
don't
bush?
yeah, the only part of Kirby we don't see are his feet. He's always wearing those shoes, unless they are also textured differently, like his feet, which are kind of like red nubbins. All right.
I think this might be a topic of this show that we actually can't do.
Okay.
Kirby's like too sacred to go
good.
into detail on this.
We'll have to wait for the next Kirby game to
like
come
trying-
out where the Kirby lore is even greatly more expanded than it has been.
I
in
think
the recent
even if we
titles.
do that, there's gonna be like a sectarian break within us where half of us are like, no, there can be no like symbology or representation of God. Like it needs to be abstract, right?
Yeah.
And then the other half is like, no, I need like grotesque detail.
So is this? Are you going to be Martin Luther, or is this like an East and West, Holy Roman Empire or Holy Catholic Church and Eastern Orthodoxy split kind of situation?
There's gonna be at least like 6 popes,
Okay,
and
who's the Kirby anti-pope?
probably Wall Kirby.
Wall Kirby. I just
with a
can't
mustache.
stop thinking about Kirby with a Pope hat on now. You know what I mean? Like Kirby could, if forced to, swallow the Pope and gain the Pope's powers if
Yes.
needed.
We got to get him there right now.
Yeah,
We,
I mean,
we do.
yeah. Kirby, you need to save the Pope by eating him. You know how, like, Kirby, and how Catholic dogma, when you eat the body of Christ, it actually is the body of Christ. Well, when you eat the Pope, you actually become the Pope.
Yes.
So they don't need to conclave. You just got to eat him.
Kirby Catholic allies transubstantiation.
Yes.
The Kirby car. I'm just picturing the Kirby Pope Mobile.
Yeah.
Right? He swallows it up.
It's really tall. Anyway,
man.
there we go. We've cracked another code this week. I choose you. Garfield lore, Kirby lore. It's all about lore. This is the most important thing.
Well, and
Anyway.
speaking of lore, the last thing that I think we need to talk about before we actually get into the recipes is the Shrek 5
Right, Shrek 5.
announcement.
Ian, we haven't heard your in-person live reaction to Shrek 5. How do you feel
Well,
about
no one has at this point, because you're thinking yesterday when we did our live event in the Discord, we watched it as a group and
Yes.
reacted to it. But we need to clear the air.
it? Much like Shrek farting so hard that he gets people out of his house,
Right.
we need to clear the air. Ian, Shrek 5, instant thoughts.
Bummer.
Bummer. It was kind of a bummer.
Do you not like that Shrek uses TikTok now in the Magic Mirror?
Sucks.
I think it's less that he uses it. It seemed like he was reluctant to witness it, but
That's worse.
it definitely is hinting at some sort of social media meta in Shrek 5, where his celebrity status or memeability is persistent.
Yeah. What if
knowledgeable.
what if it's like, obviously Zendaya is Shrek's daughter, not one of Shrek's kids that he had in the hit film Shrek Forever After. They apparently died.
Oh.
So
Wait, really?
yeah.
Different character?
Well, I mean, in Shrek Forever After, he has triplets. Well, in Shrek the Third, Fiona gives birth to triplets.
Yes.
And in Shrek Forever After, he's like, "Oh, I hate my kids. I wish my kids were gone." Kind of situation, and he contacts Rumpelstiltskin to get rid of his children, and then he learns through the course of the movie that he loves his family and wouldn't want to change that. But none of his children are Zendaya in the Shrek 5 teaser. So the implication is that maybe this is an alternate timeline where he did kill his 3 children and start over and get a better one.
And this is what sucks. Shrek would never do that. Shrek is a family man with family values. Fiona tempers him and teaches him the value of love and how to love himself. And I think
Self-love.
through that, he would love his children and not kill them or send them to boarding school. And here's what really donkeys my dragon.
Right.
Shrek, think about the original Shrek. Wasn't pandering to the cultural desires of children.
All right.
No, let's think about it. What year did Shrek come out?
2001.
Do you see Shrek use a phone?
You see a phone?
No, but he does go
just
to
people enjoying their life.
He does go to Disneyland.
Wrong.
What do you mean wrong?
Not called Disneyland. 2. Do you see Shrek use a TV? Do you see Shrek like shred a skateboard? Do you see Shrek like fly a plane into a building? No, there's nothing that remotely mirrors our world. It's fantastical. It's medieval.
Well,
Okay,
that's
so
not entirely
TikTok
true.
bullshit.
They do use the like just as a reference, maybe not Shrek himself, but within the world there are references to modern day technologies and whatnot. Like the mirror is like a TV, and like there's a reality show, like
Yeah, they in Shrek 2 they go on American Idol.
I wasn't talking about Shrek 2. What I'm saying is that Shrek 1, Shrek the first, with every iteration, it is just a bastardization of the source material. We got to go back to the source. Primary sources. That's why we're in the mess we are right now. Not to get too political here.
Yeah.
But if we would just go back to the constitution of the Shrekiverse means nothing.
Right. I mean, that's the thing though, is like I get it with like the TikTok jokes. I feel like they can't not have a teenage character in the mix if that's what they want to do, and not throw in some of those, little gimmies as far as like, oh, Gen Z, haha. But I do think that to start with that is a little bit like, like it's kind of like
Are they out of ideas?
We all like the Shrek memes, but like once Shrek starts making Shrek memes, do we like Shrek memes anymore? I don't know. It's a little too on the nose maybe for like who they're trying to get, I think. And I don't even think it's pandering to children maybe. I think it's even pandering to people like us who are like,
who saw Shrek in theaters.
Right. And are like in between.
It's not for kids.
Yeah, it's for adults.
How about
I don't know. I'm not excited about this. I know there was so much hope for a Shrek 5, but
in competition with the TikTok, I want to throw out a couple of ideas on how Shrek could have still been relevant to the youngsters.
sure.
That could have been funnier. You just said.
Okay. Yeah.
Shrek says skibbity.
I mean, look, you know how in the
still
first,
could.
You know how the Shrek first starts is he goes to the fucking outhouse and he makes like a flushing noise.
Yep.
This time it's like some skibbity and he like punches the door open.
Yep.
Oh no.
And that's like the start of the movie this time.
2. Shrek accidentally kills the Rizzler.
Is the Rizzler in Shrek 5? That's a good question.
Rizzler makes a cameo and gets killed in the first 10 seconds of the trailer.
Look, I would say it's not impossible that the Rizzler is in this movie. It's not impossible.
Yes or no? Are those better than a wimpy TikTok reference?
Well, so that's the thing is like it's kind of a smart reference because it's not like esoteric, like one of those things. It's like everyone knows at this point that you go on your phone and scroll through videos, even if you don't use TikTok, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like I guess when it's like a TikTok joke, it's not TikTok specific. It's not like, oh, Skibbity Rizzler, fucking Ohio, whatever. Like all of it's not like trying to do that. It's like, everyone knows that in 2025, you look at videos on your phone and Shrek's on your phone. Mm-hmm. You love Shrek.
What year is it in the Shrek?
It's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, I don't know, actually.
What year does Shrek take place? I'm going to Google that, and AI is going to tell me just the year it comes out.
Because that really determines everything.
Everything. I mean, kind of.
Well, the exact era is not specified. It's in a fantastical world, though some might call Shrek a science fiction setting. because they have technology that's beyond our capabilities. And he travels through time, as seen in Shrek Forever After.
Bummer.
Okay.
Bummer.
Well, anyway, it comes out Christmas next year. We're going to all see it together. It's like how we used to see the Star Wars movies together during Christmas.
We can watch Avatar and Shrek back to back.
Oh, fuck yeah. 6 hours at the movie theater. Because obviously Avatar 4 or whatever that's coming out next year is going to be like 3.5 hours long. And Shrek is also going to be 3.5 hours long. We've got to conform to its vision.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get to the main course of the show. This is I Choose You, the podcast about cooking and eating Pokemon. Each week, we randomly select a Pokemon to cook and eat, then we share those recipes with one another and vote on who has the best recipe. This week, we're talking about Pawmot, and I was listening to last week's episode to recall what it was, because it was 2 weeks ago, and Ian was so mad when we picked this Pokemon. He's like, God, I hate this fucking thing. It looks like a Digimon. I want it to die. Why is it even here? So I'm excited to hear how he's going to cook it up this week, given the antagonism that you feel for Pawmot, the Pikachu ripoff of this generation. So Ian, what's your recipe this week?
Well, let me tell you, Jeremy. I've thought about this Pokemon not at all. Since not
an iota.
But I do stand by, like, and I even looked at the trivia. It's designed by the guy who made Pikachu. And boy,
Whoa.
ain't that fucking tough? Like, you make the mascot, and then you're expected to do more, and it's like,
What if I just made a shitty one now?
yeah, what could I? They liked it the first time. This'll.
That is crazy to think about. There is a guy who designed Pikachu. In my mind, it's like Pikachu always existed. Like,
Yeah, just
we're
like a
always
phenom.
going to reach Pikachu
Yeah.
eventually. But
I imagine that, like, he drew Pikachu, and he's just, like, some stressed-out Japanese, like, salary man sitting at a desk with, like, drawing utensils, and he's just smoking, like, 30 cigarettes every day, trying to come up with the next Pikachu kind of situation. Oh, it's not
bullshit.
working!
It's terrible. It's terrible. Then he's like, one person, like, unravels the paper, and he's like, wait, this is actually really good.
This one is fine. We'll just use this one.
It's what can I even say? It's like the guy
can you
who
say?
designed the smiley face.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
the one, like,
Right.
that's used at, like, Walmart or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that.
Yeah, where it's like you designed a pure expression of human emotion that cannot be, like, usurped. How can you ever top that? And the answer is you don't.
Should have just retired. Though the sad part, he's doing fine. I bet he's doing.
Oh, he's doing
I bet he's
just fine.
Yeah.
He probably lives in a Pikachu-themed house.
Do you think he goes home to his wife and he walks up and it's like Pikachu's mouth and he opens the door and he's like, honey, I'm home.
I spent all
And
my
he's
money
like-
on the Pikachu.
Yes. And, like, his wife has, like, Pikachu ears, like, and, like, a red nose kind of situation.
Sorry, are you implying that he makes her dress up like Pikachu?
Yes.
I must make
My
love to my
muse.
greatest creation.
Well, but he lives in a Pikachu. He sleeps in a Pikachu bed with his Pikachu wife.
How? And you ask yourself, how did I get in this Pikachu house?
This is not my beautiful Pikachu wife.
This is not my beautiful Pikachu house.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
And that's why he has to design Pawmot, because he needs to, like, he realizes he's taking it too far, and he needs some shit to, like, just, like, this is a bad one. And
For like 30 years, the Pokemon company was like, all right, like, you're good. Like, we don't have to, and he's like, I can't work anymore. Like, after Pikachu, like, it's just my life's work. And then he finally came out of retirement, and he's like, I don't have to do Pikachu anymore, guys. I'm finally ready. I can do one. I can do another one. It's not Pikachu anymore, I swear.
well, what's your recipe?
All right. And forgive me. There is like a above zero chance that I have done this as a recipe before.
Look, we live in the episode 268 realm now, so we've done every recipe before.
We have made every possible way you can make a food.
Yeah.
We've done it. And we only did it in like 6 years. So that's a pretty good fucking record.
Yeah, these fucking the Bear chefs, what are they complaining about? It only took us 6 years to make every possible combination of food that you could imagine.
It's like that that game that we played where you like combine the elements and it makes new things and you keep combining them.
Yeah, Infinite Craft.
Yes.
We did that with food.
Yeah.
And Pokemon. We smashed the food together and
We fucking hacked the system. Hacked the planet. We did it.
Pawmot, it's all about the hands.
Okay. It is the hands-on Pokemon.
That's what I'm saying.
Gross.
And I'm putting my hands on this Pokemon, but not in a Typhlosion manner.
In a rip and tear manner.
Yeah, I want this to be a tactile, a tessellation for the senses.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And by the senses, I mean your hands specifically.
Right.
And maybe your mouth, hopefully. Too. We're making okra goat stew, Ghanaian style.
Ooh.
Instead of goat, get those paw mitts off the paw mop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. If you've never had this before, which I haven't, but when I taught my West African drumming class, I taught my kids about it and watched a dude like slurp this shit into his mouth every fucking 9 weeks for 3 years straight. So I'm pretty like intimately familiar with.
You've definitely Stockholm syndrome yourself into how great this stew is.
It looks. I bet it's really fucking good, but like the sounds he makes.
A goat stew sounds delicious. Don't get me wrong.
Well, let me tell you what goes into this bad boy. Fresh okra. Have you guys had okra?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Get the probably not just the hands. Maybe chop them off at the elbows. Get a little more meat.
Mm-hmm.
You think he has elbows?
Sorry,
His arms are just like straight little fucking bags.
How is he gonna punch people if his arms are T-pose and bend?
That's
No,
true.
look at his arms and tell me there's a crease there. There is no elbow.
Crease.
That's because of all the meat. There's so much meat around the elbow. You can't.
They're thick. Like he has Popeye arms going on right now.
He does.
Get your meat. Maybe some like some palm oil, onions, tomatoes. Yeah, you liked that, Jeremy?
Yeah, it did. It was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I knew you'd like that, you little freak. Pepper. Maybe some like Scotch bonnet or habanero. Garlic, ginger. Salt. Water is needed. And you chop it, you wash it, mash it, stick it in a stew.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What else is there to fucking say? Though what I will say is you cook that meat a long time. It is tender. It is like if there were bones in it, they would fall off of them. But there are no bones in this.
You'd be falling. I'm falling off the bone for this recipe. It sounds delicious.
Well, and the fighting typing insinuates that it's a muscular Pokemon.
Yes, you gotta.
I mean, it does have those Popeye arms.
Once it's done, the okra stew's gonna be a little slimy.
Sure.
Traditionally served with rice or fufu.
Okay.
Fufu being like this like starchy. It's almost like it's like a dough kind of. It's made out of like plantains. Mm-hmm. You can make it out of other like yams or other like starchy, but you like mash the shit out of it and you like work it for a long time and get the strands going. Mm-hmm. Get a little ball of that and you just like grab a little fingerful and then you stick that in the stew and like kind of get it because the slime adheres and you got all the stuff in there. And
Oh, okay. With your fingers.
with your fingers, hands on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hands on.
Your
Oh,
hands
we
are
love
so,
a hands-on food.
Your hands are so warm eating this.
Your hands are on the food.
It doesn't get any better than that.
You You're eating its hands with your hands.
Right.
It's like poetry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It rhymes.
It rhymes.
Do you think that when you're like eating chicken wings, you're like, I'm eating its hands with my hands?
Wouldn't that be the feet?
Yes. Well,
No, chicken
the wings. But here's the thing: is we consider wings and the feet to be kind of the same thing. So you're both right, actually.
Do we?
Whoa. Hold on.
I don't know if I
Okay.
do.
So okay, wait. Okay, I can see why this might. Let me just like restart. We had some chicken wings recently. I was talking with some folks, and they were like, "Isn't it crazy that when you eat chicken wings, like every 2 wings equals 1 bird?"
Okay.
And I was like,
Sure.
I can see why that's true, but actually it's 4 wings equals 1 bird, because you have the flat of the wing, which is the part with the 2 bones in it, and then you have the like drumstick of the wing, which is the like single bone part of it, right? Like those are 2 different parts of the wing of the bird that, in the process of making buffalo wings, quote unquote, they become separated.
Sorry, I gotta look something up real quick.
He needs to check on some chicken anatomy to make sure this.
So you know what I'm talking about, right? Like the drumstick and the flat. Those are 2 parts of the same, like chicken.
Ben,
you know?
I'm really sorry to do this to you on public television. The drumstick is the leg,
Yes.
But the flat isn't the whole wing.
but we don't eat.
That's
the
what
other
I'm
part
saying
of
is
the
like the
wing.
wing is when we get wings, you get flats and you get the drumstick.
But the drumstick isn't a part of the wing. Like it's not like you're eating its upper arm.
But it is quote unquote called wings when you order wings, right? When you order wings at a restaurant, they give you more than just the 2-bone wing, correct? Wouldn't you agree?
I don't know. I don't.
Fuck! Does no one else like chicken wings? Jesus fucking Christ!
I love them. I just can't. I'm looking at pictures of hot wings right now.
Look up chicken wing flat.
Or
won't
a
do
chicken wing drumstick? Okay. I didn't know this would be
fucking
so.
Christ. I mean,
so
I guess
contentious.
Yeah, I get. Okay.
How is this so hard? There's 2 kinds of wings.
No, I get it.
So it's not so it's I don't know why I'm even trying to argue with this.
No.
point, but
I understand.
There's
The hot wing
4
is
quote unquote wings in a chicken.
Mm-hmm.
right. We have abstracted the products
Yeah.
so far from the source material.
I think the reason is going on this website, the kitchen, spelled weird. I think the terminologies is what's tripping us, because the drumstick is the leg, but when you're eating a chicken wing, it is the drumette.
Excuse me.
Oh my god, no, really?
What you
There's
just
a
said to
whole
me?
other thing.
Yes.
I just thought that was what you called it, because what else do you call that part of the?
Well, the drumstick is the thigh. Is the not the thigh? It's the like bottom leg, the shin,
right
of the chicken.
But when it comes to the wings, there's a version of that.
There's the drumette.
Holy
Apparently,
shit.
it's called the drumette.
It is called the drumette.
Well-
I'll send you this picture.
We all are fucking fools. That does make sense because those would be some tiny fucking chickens. If those were its thighs.
Yeah. Well, but and also they do breed chickens to have bigger everything for food purposes these days.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, sounds good. Ben, I believe you.
What were we? Where was this?
What were
Why?
we even talking about? I feel like I brought up chicken wings, and then this whole like conversation escalated into like a whole other discussion about anatomy and what we call things.
It really makes you think.
I brought up chicken wings.
Because that's your recipe this week. Ben, what is your recipe this week?
It's not my recipe this week.
What is your recipe this week?
Maybe I was thinking about like in the context of Pawmot's like arms, like they kind of have chicken wing
I
something
see.
going on, because we were talking about whether it had elbows. I don't know. Listeners will know better than I, because they didn't get all steamed about trying to argue about how many chicken wings were in a chicken.
Well, okay. So there are two like actual like flapping wings. There are multiple parts of the wing used while preparing the food dish known as chicken wings. I think that's the confusing episode.
The craziest fucking part, we just throw away the rest of the chicken after that.
Yeah.
Just for the wings.
Yes. Just right into the trash.
Right in the trash.
Okay, anyway, I can go next for sure. My recipe is some Pawmot's applesauce.
Oh man, I think you're gonna win.
Let's go!
God,
So here's what you do: you get the big grinder, you just fucking grind them. There
This
we
is
go,
like
babe.
my kind of like Spider-Man 3 moment where I'm like walking in and like finger gutting everyone of like Pawmot's applesauce.
Well,
like,
they do hate him when he does that. So
I mean, but you
not in
guys
his
hate me
mind.
too. You know that you're gonna lose is
yes,
the point.
Yes, that is true.
I'm kind of grooving.
Okay.
Yeah, so kind of playing off of the famous applesauce brand, Mott's. I'm thinking of making some Pawmot themed and flavored applesauce. I'll get to that in a little bit. But I thought it might be important for y'all to know a little bit of history about the Mott's Apple Company, as it were. Please. It's been with us longer than you'd think.
1872 is when they started. Am I right?
Ian,
That was just a
you
guess.
You want to put a guess out there in the world?
That
I
was my
thought Jeremy
guess.
like looked it up and just ruined whatever Ben was about to do. Earlier than that. 1850s.
I guess Ian wins by like Price is Right rules. It's 1842.
Well, I mean, he doesn't because he's over as well.
Well, I guess you win by my rules in the sense that you're closer.
That's all I fucking
So, yeah, it was one guy who just started like growing and packaging them, learned techniques that he were passed down from his grandfather, Zebulon Mott.
Hell yeah. People aren't named fucking Zebulon anymore, and that's one of the reasons our society is crumbling.
It could be. But that was Zebulon's grandson, Samuel R. Mott, is the one who started the Apple business and ended up selling it for $1 to his sons, which, you know, seems like that's probably just like nepotism. But
yeah,
they had to get at least $1 in there to make it an official bill of sale. And you wouldn't believe this, but Mott's is the first applesauce company to make single-sized containers of applesauce, like those plastic cups.
If I may, I ate one of those today.
There you go.
So
I know where my bread's buttered.
Yeah, this is why fucking Ben's gonna win, because Ian's surrounded by Mott's.
It's in my kitchen.
Stouffer's lasagna, Mott's applesauce.
That was
Mix them
literally
together.
That was my fucking lunch today.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of the lasagna. I'm so tired of it. I've eaten so much of it.
How many do you have left? 8?
2. I have 2 left.
Okay.
I've bought more since.
Oh my god,
It's so
not
cheap.
easy being Garf.
Yeah. Do you see why Garfield has maybe moved to the pizza as his favorite
No,
food?
because Garfield eats gourmet shit. John is like making that fresh for him every week. If I had someone making me fresh lasagna, I would eat that till the cows come home.
Right, it wouldn't be a problem.
That's why I got to cut it with the Mott's. Continue.
Yeah.
Okay, so applesauce is pretty basic as far as like a recipe. Essentially, like obviously there's not a whole lot to it. They've been making it for like hundreds of years. You just like essentially like blanch or I don't even know if that's the right term, but you boil, cook in water apples, and then you just mash them all together. Obviously you take out the seeds and maybe peel them first. But you also, a good applesauce is more than just its apples. It includes some, various spices and other flavors in there to make it a little bit more interesting. Cinnamon, for example. You might also add some star anise, some vanilla extract, and I will include some lemon juice as well, because I love a nice kind of lemony, fresh applesauce. In this situation, I'm very drawn to Pawmot's electric typing, which I assume to mean sour flavor. and its hands, which are very, dare I say, juicy.
Yeah.
And potentially filled with a lemon juice substitute.
Do you think instead of like we've been making Popeye jokes, but it's like when you squeeze his hands, it like squirts out juice. It's like a big pimple.
Yes, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is
Really?
you set up a big bowl and you stick his arms down there, and then you just kind of like and like kind of wring it dry, and you've got enough lemon juice to add to your applesauce, and that's what makes the Pawmot's recipe special. Is just that extra little zing of Pawmot juice, and you know it doesn't negatively impact the Pawmot in any way. It does mean that they have to go pump more iron and kind of like build up, like, you know, to get where their muscles were before then. But it's actually kind of nice for them. Like they told me, like they actually like it.
Yeah, they actually like it when it comes out.
I'm picturing more like they like hang over like a railing, and then you like tug on their arms like udders.
Yeah, there you go.
And like you gotta milk them every day, or else their arms get swollen.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
What if your forearms were pendulous teats?
This recipe presupposes?
Yes.
Yeah. Basically.
Okay, sounds good. All right, my recipe this week. Whoa! I'm sorry, Ian. You didn't raise your hand quickly.
You got a problem?
Well,
Yeah,
I thought Ben was gonna like give us a presentation, but it's
over.
in a cup.
Oh, well, I mean, like classic Mott's fashion, I think you would have it distributed in single-use plastic cups and sell in 8-packs at the store. And, you know, I think the perfect way to serve it would be like with some animal crackers and like maybe a sandwich.
Okay.
You know, just bring in the full elementary school lunch fantasy.
I got a few things to say.
Oh.
Because Ben, like week after week, Ben is like, what's like a childhood like meal or side dish that Ian grew up on, and how can I like? First off, Mott's come in packs of 6. Do your fucking homework.
Ian, roasting you
2, chunky.
or smooth. Okay, is that an option? Is it like peanut butter?
Oh my god, you haven't had chunky applesauce? It fucks so hard.
Well, I'm sure I have, but I didn't really think. I didn't even think of it as like, oh, I go into the store and I have like 2 cases in front of me and I have to like think about which one I'm purchasing.
You're describing me.
Okay. I'm sorry.
They don't come in the cups. You gotta buy it in the jar, I think.
Yeah.
If you want chunky.
Yeah, I don't even think of Mott's as being a particularly chunky brand of applesauce.
Not unless you get the chunky one. Would you do it?
Not unless you get the chunky one, which I can't say that I've seen in stores. I just know that Mott's has different flavors, like a cinnamon flavor.
Yeah, that's for
an apple
kids. I'm
flavor.
talking about the
men.
grown-up shit. I'm not about the X-rated.
Applesauce for men.
babies.
Then.
Yeah. I know what you guys are fucking getting for Christmas next year.
The chunkiest applesauce is like
It's just
the
an
fucking
apple.
chunkiest. Yeah, it's just an apple.
My question, have you guys had applesauce as a side dish with like a meat dish?
Yeah,
Oh,
I've had
yeah.
it where it's like served on top of like pork loin. And I thought
Exactly.
it was very good.
Yeah, if I was a little bit smarter, I probably would have thought about something like that. But instead, it was just the Mott's logo and saying Mott's that made me think of what it felt like to be a kid and have Mott's in your lunch.
I do gotta say, looking at his face, Gerber generation.
Yeah. Babby.
All right. Anything else on Mott's?
I could
apple?
keep going on, but we gotta.
We're pushing it. This is gonna be a real long episode for some reason.
Gotta go.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry, my allergies are acting up. I'm just gonna throw this out there. We're gonna do a pomegranate glazed Pawmot shank. So I'm using a lamb recipe this week for it, and it's going to be marinated in a pomegranate glaze for our enjoyment, but I'm gonna call it Pawmot granite because I think it's funny, kind of situation. So we're doing that's what we're doing this week. Let me bring up the recipe itself. So you're gonna get some pomegranate molasses, some garlic cloves, some olive oil, some ground ginger, some cinnamon, some cumin, some paprika, salt, pepper, and then you're going to get your lamb and you're going to make the marinade, and then you're going to with those ingredients, and then you're going to get your lamb that you're going to cook with it, and you're going to just glaze that sucker with this delicious thing. The lamb is the Pawmot in this situation. We're actually just using him for the meat kind of thing. Okay. We're going to glaze this guy so good. It's going to be not a glizzy, a glazy. You know what I'm saying, man? Kind of situation. And you're going to fucking roast it, or you're going to cook it in like a pan on top of your stove. And it's going to have that nice, sweet, like sour crust of the pomegranate outside of the meat. And it's going to be nice and rare. So when you cut into it, it's got like, you like, crack a little, like a creme brulee crack on the meat kind of situation with this glaze, and you cut into it and you open it up and it's nice medium rare, delicious Pawmot meat on the inside. And that's my recipe.
Nice.
Yes, Ian.
It's like a lamb shank, right?
Yes, it is like a lamb shank.
If I ate it and got indigestion, would you call that paw shank redemption?
I like that you had to confirm that this was a shank just to make sure you can make this joke.
I was checking my sources.
Okay.
Oh, Paw Shank Redemption's really good.
Yeah, Paw Shank Redemption. We could definitely have that at my Stephen King themed restaurant that I'm serving this at, kind of situation. So I can definitely, we could do that.
It reminds me of when you did the Sheep Shank Redemption recipe.
Oh, there you go. That's Ian. It's a joke we made before in our 6 years.
This one's different. This one's different.
As we're entering our Iron Age of I Choose You.
I mean, throughout the ages, the technology stays the same. They just make it out of different shit. So,
well, Ian goes back to like ancient Greece and is like, I've seen this before. Boring. Exactly. But yeah, it's my recipe. I mean, it's nothing crazy. I just thought Pawmot granite was pretty good as a pun.
Yep.
And that's I went from there.
It is really good, I have to say, and it sounds delicious. Mm-hmm. Can't lie, I'm pretty hungry.
Well, it is slightly based on a thing I had recently. I went to a nice restaurant and I had a thing, quote unquote, called a lamb lollipop, which was just a singular lamb shake encrusted in an apple jelly. Not an apple sauce, but an apple jelly kind of situation. It was really good.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So, there you go. That's my recipe.
I already voted.
Okay.
Whoa. The polls are already open?
Let me review our recipe this week. From Ian, we have Pawmot goat stew. From Ben, we have Pawmot apple... I almost said syrup, applesauce, and for me we have Pawmot granite thing. We know who's gonna win. Ben, who won?
Wow, jeez, no flair for the dramatic here today.
Ben, who won?
I did with 2 votes, and Jeremy got my vote.
Hey, nice. All right. Whale Lords, Mail Horde. We don't have any new mail. Send it in ichoosepod@gmail.com. Let's pick next week's Pokemon in a section I like to call Pick-a-mon. I have to randomly generate a number.
It's tough work.
Random number between 906.
It's like I'm Jeremy's keyboard and I'm like feeling him press the buttons.
I'm going to do...
POV, your Jeremy's keyboard.
Yeah.
Well, is it actual POV or what they say on TikTok is a POV? Because those two things are different. The one is filled with lies. Okay, 940 is the one we're doing next week. And that is Wattrel, the bird Pokemon of this generation. Wattrel.
Oh.
Spell it.
Wattrel.
I remember this one. Oh, yeah, this one's great. It looks like a Patu bird.
Ian, you seem a little perturbed by the designs of the...
And the evolution's called Kilowattrel. That's great.
That is pretty good.
I mean, the jokes are good. See, here's the thing. This generation has some of the best, like, naming and design of Pokemon recently. And I haven't played the game. I got to get on that.
I've been thinking about getting back into it
Yeah,
recently,
there you go.
actually.
Anyway, send in your watchful recipes to ichoosepod@gmail.com. Let's do the plugging round of the show. Tell us where we can find you on the internet. Ben.
You can find me on Instagram at Ben C. Montoya or on Tumblr at thefearandnow.tumblr.com.
Ian.
Follow me at Musician Davis on Instagram or check out my website, musiciandavis.com.
Excellent. You can follow me on Velocity Prime 1 on Blue Sky, Velocity Prime No 1 on Tumblr, or check out my writing at the-avocado.org. Jeremy Zelick, that's the-avocado.org. Jeremy Zelick. Also check out Grassroots Campaign for the Santa Fe Society and Foundation for Speculative Fiction, my new book club. You can join our Discord and talk about books. You love books. That's the Santa Fe Society and Foundation for Speculative Fiction, Speculative SF on Blue Sky and Discord. Check it out. All right, let's wrapping up the show. This has been I Choose You, the podcast about cooking and eating Pokemon. You can find us on your favorite podcasting apps, including Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, or your podcast catcher of choice. If you like our show, make sure to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify to help us go up the ranks. If you want more I Choose You goodness, check out our social media pages, I Choose Pod, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Tumblr, and YouTube. If you want to participate in the I Choose You community, join the Discord. Links are available in the episode description. You can hang out with fellow Choosies, submit recipes, and participate in community events like we did this weekend, which was quite delightful. We got a couple of new people joining us this weekend, and it was very fun. We determined the best Pokemon performance in a movie we've covered on the show. And I'll post that tier list later this week on our Blue Sky, so you can check that out and yell at us. Do it. That's the I Choose You Discord. Last but not least, head on over to the official website, ichooseyou.menu. ichooseyou.menu has a full episode archive and merch store. That's ichooseyou.menu. And that's been the show, and I've been your host and Alton Brown of the group, Jeremy Zelick.
I've been your friend in this show, Ben Montoya.
Been your YouTube food blogger, Mark Wines, Ian Davis.
And to all the choosies out there in Radioland, in a while, Totodile.
So you wanna cook and eat all good?
Pokemon!
Are you ready for some recipes and
Lots of puns!
I wanna eat the ultimate snack, find the flavors that are bold. I choose you. Taste them all with no regret, as a prophecy foretold. I wanna eat with Jeremy, Ben, Evan, and Ian too. I choose you. Learn to cook and crack some cans.
Use the podcast in your hands.
We gotta eat in this Pokemon world. I choose you, the greatest podcast of them all. We gotta eat in this Pokemon world. Put your dish to the test, tastes better than all the rest.
One dish, two dish, red dish, blue dish. Ready for an icy wrap?
Let's do this.
If your soup is missing something, no sweat, my flamingo. You just sprinkle in a little bit of Sprigatito. And if your plate is looking sad and done sparse, just tear up some tarantula. It isn't that harsh. Vroom, vroom, there's a rubber room for all your baddies as we drive to these Pokemon tubes. I scream tail as these iron hands come over me. Those iron juggalists, exactly what I like to see. Slithering, lay back, Excalibur by the pool. And crack the bottle, let your body waddle. Don't be a sleep title, just hit the lotto. Cause this podcast is gold, it's as hot as a capsicum too. So let's kick back, cans crack, for I Choose You.
We gotta eat in this Pokemon world. I choose you, the greatest podcast of them all. I choose you.